Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Ryan, and you're listening to Speak Up, the podcast that helps you become more confident, fluent, and natural in English, one episode at a time. Whether you're at home, commuting to work, or taking a break, we're here to give you real, useful English you can use every day. If this is your first time listening, welcome to the family. And if you're a regular listener, we really appreciate your support. Please take a second to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. It helps us grow and reach more learners just like you. Today, we're diving into a topic that's super helpful in real life: how to start a conversation with a new coworker. You know, that moment when you join a new office or someone new joins your team and you want to say something but don't know exactly how? That's what we'll be exploring today, with easy, natural English expressions you can actually use.
Hi everyone, I'm Priya and I'm so happy to be here with you again. Starting conversations at work can feel a bit scary, especially if you're not sure what to say or if English isn't your first language. But the good news is, you don't need big, fancy words to make a good impression. In today's episode, we'll walk you through simple phrases and friendly questions that you can use to break the ice with a new coworker. Whether you're working in an office, remotely, or at a part-time job, the English we'll teach you today works everywhere. And remember, this is not just about grammar, it's about real communication. So stay tuned, speak along with us, and don't forget to leave a comment with your favorite phrase or even your own work experience in English. Now, let's get started with part 1 of our conversation practice.
Let's start with this. Imagine you're sitting in a new office. You've just joined, everything feels unfamiliar, and then there's someone new sitting right across from you. Maybe they joined recently too, or they've been here longer, but either way, you've never talked. You both make eye contact for a second, you kind of smile, maybe nod a little, and then you look away. That moment feels heavier than it should. You're thinking, should I say something? What if I sound weird? What if they're too busy? And just like that, the chance disappears. You return to your screen, they do the same, and now the silence grows stronger, almost like an invisible wall.
Yes, exactly. That's such a real situation. I think a lot of people feel that, but no one talks about it. You're in the same space, maybe sitting next to this person all day, and still not a single proper conversation happens. Why? Because both people feel unsure. It's not about being shy or introverted. Sometimes you're just worried about saying the wrong thing or coming across too friendly, or even worse, too stiff. You want to be polite, but natural. And honestly, it's strange how something as small as, "Hi, I'm Priya, I just joined last week," can feel so big in that moment. It's almost like your brain builds it up into this big mountain, even though it's really just a few words.
You're right, and I've noticed this so many times, not just when I was new, but even later when someone else joined the team. I'd want to say something, but I'd wait, and then they'd wait, and nothing would happen. It's like both of us were frozen, waiting for the other one to speak first. And here's the thing, that one first sentence, that first small sentence, can actually change everything. It's not about being super confident or outgoing, it's just about being human. Breaking the silence with something light, something kind, even just a, "Hey, how's it going?" can completely shift the energy between two people.
Yes, and the interesting thing is, once that first word is spoken, the pressure disappears. Suddenly, it's easier to smile next time, to say good morning, or even chat casually over coffee. But that first moment, that's the one that requires a bit of courage. And it's not courage in a big, dramatic way. It's the quiet kind, where you choose connection over comfort. Because honestly, deep down, we all want to be spoken to. No one enjoys awkward silence. People appreciate even the smallest effort, especially in the workplace, where everything can feel a bit formal at first.
That's such a good point. We forget that most people aren't looking for perfect words. They're just looking for a friendly signal. Like, "Hey, I see you. I'm open to talking." That's it. No fancy phrases, no deep conversations, just a simple start. And you don't need to wait for the perfect moment. There's no script to follow. Sometimes even saying something like, "Hey, I think we haven't met yet," or "How's your first week going?" That's enough. That little effort can plant the seed for better communication later. It's a workplace, not a stage. People just want to feel noticed and welcomed.
And I love what you just said, no script to follow. That's important. You don't have to sound like a character from a movie. Just be yourself. Use your normal tone, your natural voice. You don't have to worry about grammar or impressing anyone. It's just about showing that you're open. Honestly, most people remember how you made them feel, not what exact words you used. So even if you stumble a little or don't say it perfectly, it's fine. The effort matters more than perfection. And once you take that first step, you'll feel proud of yourself because you didn't let the silence win.
Now we've understood why starting the first word matters. It breaks the silence, it opens a door. But now let's talk about timing, because saying the right thing at the wrong time, well, that can backfire. You walk up to someone while they're deep into an email or staring at their screen with headphones on, it just doesn't feel right, right? You might even come off as interrupting. So before saying anything, take 2 seconds to observe. Are they relaxed or rushing? Are they making eye contact with people, or are they locked into their work? These little things can tell you a lot. It's not just what you say, it's also when you say it.
Exactly. Timing changes everything. Sometimes we're so focused on what should I say that we forget to check if the other person is even open to talking. One of the best times to say something casual is when they're not in the middle of something, like when they're grabbing coffee, walking into the office, or taking a break. Those moments feel natural. There's movement, there's space, there's no pressure. Even shared spaces like the hallway or the elevator, they give you a little window to start something light. People are usually more open in those moments because they're not mentally busy. It's about picking the right moment, not pushing a conversation into the wrong one.
And nonverbal cues, oh man, they say so much. Like if someone's got their arms crossed, no eye contact, earbuds in, that's probably not the best time to walk over and chat. But if they're stretching, sipping water, or casually looking around the room, that might be your green light. It's not about being overly cautious. It's about being respectful. You don't want to make someone feel like they're being forced to engage. People appreciate when you notice their energy. Timing is a soft skill, but it makes you come across as thoughtful and aware, and that helps you start better conversations naturally.
Yes, and I think people remember how comfortable they felt around you. If you jump in at the wrong time, it can make the other person feel slightly annoyed or distracted, even if they don't show it. But if you approach with a relaxed tone at a good moment, it builds positive energy from the start. Sometimes it's better to wait for the right 5 seconds than to rush into a forced hi. Watch the environment. Is it loud? Is the person multitasking? Is it early morning or just after lunch? All of this matters. And it doesn't take hours of study, just a bit of awareness and care.
And the beautiful part is, when you time it right, the conversation feels effortless. It just flows. No awkwardness, no hesitation, and you'll feel the shift. Their body language opens up, their tone is friendly, and now you're talking like two humans, not two office robots. That's the goal. You're not trying to win the moment. You're just trying to connect. Respect leads to comfort, and comfort leads to better communication. And you know what? Once you practice noticing the right moments, it becomes second nature. You'll feel more confident walking up and saying something because you know it's the right time.
Absolutely. It's like tuning into a quiet rhythm. Offices can be busy, but within that busyness, there are little pauses, small windows of openness. You don't need to wait for the perfect one, just a good enough one. And that's all you need to start. Timing doesn't mean waiting forever. It means watching, noticing, and stepping in with presence. Once you do that, the whole experience becomes smoother for you and for the other person. So next time you're wondering when to speak, take a deep breath, look around, and ask yourself, does this feel like the right moment?
Now that we've talked about timing and reading the room, let's dive into something that makes most people nervous: what to actually say. Starting the conversation is the biggest wall for many people. But here's the good news: it doesn't have to be clever or deep. In fact, the simpler it is, the better it works. You could say something like, "Hey, I just realized we haven't been introduced yet." Or, "Hi, I think we're on the same project, right?" These are light, non-threatening openers that invite the other person to respond without putting pressure on them. No need to overthink or try to impress. The goal here is comfort, not performance.
Totally. People appreciate it when you come off as genuine and relaxed. You don't have to prepare a speech.
Just one polite, friendly sentence can get things going. I've even used something as simple as, "Hi, I've seen you around. I thought I'd say hello." That's it. Or even, "Hey, I think we sit close to each other. I'm Priya." These kinds of openers feel natural because they're based on observation and kindness. You're not asking anything heavy. You're just acknowledging their presence and showing that you're open to a friendly connection. That alone can break the ice instantly.
Yes, and one little tip, include your name early. It gives the other person something to latch onto and makes the moment more personal. Like, "Hey, I'm Ryan. I don't think we've met yet." That kind of approach shows that you're not just making small talk, you're inviting a tiny bit of connection. You're saying, "I see you, and I'm open." Keep your tone casual, avoid over-smiling or sounding rehearsed. Just speak the way you'd greet someone at a coffee shop. Easy, warm, present. That's all it takes.
And let's not forget, even a question can be a good opener if it's light. Something like, "Is this your first week too?" Or, "Do you know where the meeting room is?" These are great because they serve a purpose and start a chat. But again, don't fake it. Don't ask questions you already know the answers to. People can tell. Instead, keep it real. Notice something you honestly wonder about, or just lead with a simple greeting. When you remove the pressure to sound perfect, your natural voice comes through, and that's what makes people want to talk.
Right. Don't force it. Just be present. Even something like, "Hey, long day," can open the door if the mood feels right. You're not trying to start a deep conversation, you're just making it easy for someone to smile and respond. That's the beginning of workplace comfort. And once you start with these soft openers, you'll realize that people actually appreciate it. Most of them are just as unsure about starting the first word as you are. So when you take that step, you help both of you feel more at ease.
Exactly. You become that person who makes things easier, not awkward. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Try one opener a day. Seriously, that's enough. Say, "Hi, I'm Priya," in the elevator. Or, "Hey, I think we were in the same training session at the coffee machine." Keep it short, friendly, and human. That's it. You're not building deep relationships in one sentence. You're just opening the door. And once that door is open, everything else becomes easier.
Okay, so you've said the first hello. Now comes the second big moment. What to say next without making it awkward? One of the best ways to keep the flow going is by asking a question. But here's the trick, not all questions are good in a work setting, especially when you're still getting to know someone. You want to ask something light but not too personal. For example, "How's your first week going?" is a great one. Or, "How are you finding things so far?" These questions show curiosity and invite answers without making the other person feel like they're being interviewed about their life.
Exactly. You want to show interest, not dig into someone's private world. Save topics like work, training, the office environment, or even food in the cafeteria. They're all good areas to explore. Something like, "What brought you to this role?" is professional and gives the other person room to share, if they want. It's not about being nosy, it's about being open. Avoid personal topics like where they live, family stuff, or age, especially in the early days. People are more relaxed when you stick to workplace-safe questions. Keep it easy, keep it friendly.
And another thing, ask in a way that feels casual, not scripted. You don't have to sound like you've memorized your lines. Something as simple as, "So, how are you liking the team so far?" is enough. Or, "Have you had a chance to explore the office building yet?" These are soft, everyday questions. You're giving the other person a chance to speak, and that helps you both find common ground. But if they seem tired or distracted, respect that too. It's not about forcing a connection, it's about creating space for one if they're open to it.
Right, and don't rush the silence either. Sometimes people need a second to think before answering. Just be present, smile, and let them speak. If they open up a little, you can follow up, like, "Oh, you've worked in this field before." But again, keep the curiosity professional, not personal. Questions should help someone feel seen, not exposed. And the more comfortable you are with the silence in between, the easier it gets. Remember, your tone says just as much as your words. Keep it light, warm, and respectful, and you'll be just fine.
And honestly, sometimes the best thing is just listening. Ask one good question and then let them talk. You'll learn a lot just by being patient and not jumping in with your own stories too fast. Think of your questions as invitations, not demands.
Let the other person decide how much to share. That way, you build trust without even trying too hard. These are the little things that make people feel safe around you, and that's the first step to better conversations at work.
Couldn't agree more. So the next time you meet someone new, try something like, "How's everything going so far?" Or, "What's your favorite part of the role so far?" These are open, easy, and totally non-invasive. It's not about impressing anyone, it's about showing them you're approachable and real. That's what makes work feel less like work and more like a place where people connect. And trust me, it all starts with asking the right kind of question at the right time in the right way.
All right, so now you've asked a good question and your colleague starts to respond. Here's where many people feel stuck. They think a good conversation means talking more. But actually, one of the best skills you can have is listening. Active listening means really paying attention to what the other person says. When you listen carefully, it shows you care. It also gives you clues about what to say next. You don't have to jump in with a big story. Sometimes a simple response like, "That sounds interesting," or "I didn't know that," can keep the chat flowing naturally. It's about being present in the moment, not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Absolutely, Ryan. Listening is often underrated, but it's the secret ingredient to any good conversation. When you listen well, you make the other person feel heard and respected. That builds trust quickly. Even small responses like, "Wow, that must be challenging," or "Oh, I've never thought about it that way," show that you're engaged and interested. It's about encouraging the other person to share more without feeling rushed or interrupted. The goal is to make the conversation feel like a smooth, two-way exchange, not a one-sided monologue.
Right, and don't forget, body language matters when you're listening too. Nodding your head, maintaining eye contact, and having an open posture tell the other person you're really there. Sometimes your facial expressions say more than words. If you look distracted or bored, it shuts down the conversation fast. So focus on what's being said and respond with small, natural phrases. You don't have to say a lot. A little goes a long way when it's sincere. And that sincerity makes a huge difference.
And here's a tip. If you're unsure what to say next, try repeating a key word or phrase the other person said. Like if they mention a project, you can say, "You mentioned the project. What's that about?" This shows you're listening closely and interested. It keeps the flow going without forcing new topics. Also, it's okay to have some pauses. Don't feel pressure to fill every silence. Sometimes a pause gives both of you a moment to think and breathe, making the conversation more comfortable and natural.
Exactly. So remember, listening is not just about quietness, it's about active engagement. The best conversations happen when both people feel they're understood and valued. If you master listening, you'll find it easier to build connections with new colleagues without feeling awkward or lost for words. It's one of those skills that pays off in every part of life, not just at work.
Totally agree. And when you listen well, you naturally learn more about your colleague and their work. That makes future conversations easier because you'll have things to follow up on next time. Plus, it shows you're thoughtful and professional. So start practicing this right away. Listen more, speak less, and respond naturally. It's simple, but it works wonders.
So, now that you've asked some good questions and listened well, it's your turn to share a bit about yourself. But here's the challenge: how much should you say? You want to introduce yourself, but not overwhelm your new colleague with too many details. A good rule is to keep it short, simple, and work-related. For example, you might say, "I'm Ryan, and I've been with the company for 2 years, mostly in the marketing team." Or, "I really like how supportive the team is here." These small points help build connection without sounding like a long speech or oversharing personal stuff.
Right, Ryan. It's all about balance. Sharing helps the other person feel like they're getting to know you, but it should stay relevant to the work environment. You could say something like, "I just finished a big project on customer feedback," or "I've been learning a lot from the team recently." Positive comments about the company or team culture also work well because they keep the mood friendly and professional. What you want to avoid is going into personal details too quickly, like family stories or opinions that might not fit a work conversation. Keep it light and professional.
Exactly, Priya. Another tip is to watch how your colleague responds. If they seem interested, you can add a little more. Maybe mention a hobby related to work, like, "I enjoy analyzing data on weekends." But if they seem reserved or distracted, keep it brief and friendly. You don't have to fill every silence with talk about yourself. Sometimes less is more. Sharing just enough shows you're open but also respectful of boundaries. It makes the conversation feel comfortable for both sides.
Yes, and the way you say it matters too. Keep your tone natural and confident like you're chatting with a friend. A simple introduction like, "By the way, I'm Priya and I work in HR," or "I've been here for a few months now and I'm really enjoying it," works perfectly. It's clear and friendly without sounding forced. And remember, this is just the beginning. As you get to know each other better, you'll have more chances to share more about yourself. But at first, stick to the basics. That's enough to build trust and show you're approachable.
One last thing, sharing also means being honest but positive. If you're new too, it's okay to say that, like, "I'm still learning the ropes here." It helps your colleague feel like they're not alone and opens space for more relaxed, supportive conversation. Being genuine goes a long way. So, when it's your turn, keep it simple, keep it relevant, and keep it professional. That way, your new colleague will feel comfortable and more willing to talk next time.
Well said. So, share just enough, not too little, not too much. That's the sweet spot. Keep it easy, positive, and professional, and you'll create the right vibe for friendly work conversations that grow naturally over time. Finally, let's talk about something really important: how to end a conversation politely but still leave a good impression. Sometimes people rush away or just stop talking suddenly, and that can feel a bit awkward. But if you wrap things up smoothly, it shows you're thoughtful and professional. Simple phrases like, "Nice meeting you, hope your day goes well," or "Catch you later at the meeting," work really well. They're friendly and open-ended, which leaves the door open for next time.
Exactly, Priya. Ending a chat politely doesn't mean you have to say a lot. Even a quick, "It was good talking with you," or "Looking forward to working together," makes a big difference. These small words show respect and positivity, which people remember. Plus, how you end the conversation often shapes how the next one starts. If you leave on a good note, your colleague will feel comfortable approaching you again. So don't rush off or disappear without a word. Take a moment to close things nicely.
And it's okay to be casual but respectful. You don't need to sound formal or stiff. Something simple like, "I'll see you around," or "Let's catch up soon," feels natural and friendly. It makes the conversation feel complete but also easy to continue later. Plus, these little goodbyes help reduce any awkwardness after the chat. They're like a friendly handshake at the end of a talk, even if it's just with words.
Right, Priya. And here's a quick tip. If you know you'll see the person again soon, mention that. Say something like, "See you in the meeting," or "Let's grab coffee sometime." It shows you're interested in staying connected without making it too serious. That subtle invitation helps build a comfortable work relationship over time. So remember, how you say goodbye matters just as much as how you say hello.
Before we gently conclude this podcast, we want to thank all of you for spending time with us today. We hope these tips